Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're digging into the story of a restaurant that was, for a long time, an absolute titan of American culture. So how did Pizza Hut, a brand that totally dominated the pizza world, end up losing its crown?
To really get the scale of the fall, you have to understand just how high they flew. I mean, at their absolute peak in 1995, Pizza Hut was a juggernaut. They had over 7,500 locations all across the country. It felt like they were on every corner. And it wasn't just about how many stores they had. Get this, they commanded a staggering 1/4 of the entire US pizza market. That's a level of dominance that just seemed completely, totally unbeatable.
Right. So how does a brand that powerful fall so far, so fast? We're going to unpack exactly how this empire, built on those iconic red roofs and pan pizza, just started to crumble.
Okay, so the story starts way back in 1958 with two brothers, Dan and Frank Carney. And they didn't just start a restaurant. They timed their business perfectly to ride three huge cultural waves that were sweeping across America at the time.
First off, Americans were just eating out way more than they ever had before. At the exact same time, you had this explosion of suburbs and car culture, which created the perfect environment for a franchise model to thrive. And the final piece of the puzzle? Well, thanks to government subsidies, cheese was incredibly cheap, making pizza this amazing, high-value meal that families absolutely adored.
The chain was so successful that by 1977, PepsiCo just swooped in and bought it. And their strategy was pretty simple: double down on what was already working. And that meant focusing on the whole dining experience and getting really creative with the menu. And this right here, this was their big light bulb moment. Pizza Hut realized that the basic combo of bread, cheese, and sauce was the perfect canvas. It was a platform for all kinds of endless, exciting, and most importantly, highly marketable new ideas. Their idea was so simple but absolutely brilliant. Just stuff more cheese inside the crust. I mean, this one gimmick became a cultural phenomenon. It was fun, it was different, and it was so wildly popular, it drove the company's sales to over $5.7 billion. And then came what was maybe the absolute peak of their gimmick strategy, the Bigfoot pizza. This wasn't just some new topping, no, this was an event. It was a party in a box, a massive 2-foot-long rectangular pizza. And get this, that one single product drove an extra $1 billion in sales. Let that sink in for a second. Just one gimmick, $1 billion. It's just insane.
But here's the twist. 1995 wasn't just the year of their biggest gimmick, it was also the turning point. This was the exact moment where the world started to speed up and move on. And Pizza Hut, well, they kind of just stood still.
And all of a sudden, their advantages became their anchors. That cheap cheese edge, it pretty much vanished as other things, like chicken, got way cheaper. Then you had corporate neglect from PepsiCo, who kind of treated Pizza Hut like a side hustle. And that led to awful reviews and inconsistent quality. And maybe most importantly, people just didn't have time for a long sit-down pizza dinner anymore. Life was getting faster. So while Pizza Hut was struggling with this outdated identity, a competitor that they had kind of forgotten about suddenly reemerged. And this competitor was perfectly built for the new, fast-paced, digital world.
And this really gets to the heart of the conflict. Pizza Hut was a generalist. They were trying to be great at dine-in, great at gimmicks, and great at delivery. Domino's, on the other hand, was a specialist. They basically repositioned themselves as a tech company that just happened to deliver great pizza, fast. They were lean, they were focused, and they weren't weighed down by thousands of aging dining rooms. And the results of this mismatch? Well, they were absolutely devastating for Pizza Hut. Just look at this. By 2017, Domino's had grabbed a massive 42% of the market, while Pizza Hut had just collapsed down to 14%.
This whole trend just went into hyperspeed during the pandemic. Now, you'd think this would be a golden age for pizza delivery, right? Well, Domino's sales went through the roof. Pizza Hut's? Their sales actually went down, which just shows you how far behind they'd really fallen. So when you boil it all down, the really crucial point here is that the very foundations of Pizza Hut's success, all the things that made them a giant in the first place, became the exact reasons for its failure. This is the single, powerful idea that explains the entire rise and fall of this iconic brand. Let me say that again, because it is so important. What creates you is what ends up killing you
when the dynamics in the marketplace change.
I mean, just think about it. Their whole identity, built around the dine-in experience, became a huge liability when life sped up. Their franchising model, which made them huge, became a weakness when their biggest operator went bankrupt. Their dominance in the suburbs didn't matter so much when delivery became everything. Even their cheese advantage completely disappeared. Every single strength they had turned into a fatal weakness.
And that really leaves us with a final thought to chew on. What is the core, foundational strength in your world, in your career, or your industry that could, one day, become a fatal weakness when the future inevitably shows up?